I'm going to take you through the tools of the Read-Write extension for Google Chrome as the tools are used within a Google document. So if you click on your purple puzzle piece when you're within your Google Doc, this toolbar is going to appear. So let's go over some of the features first. If I click at the beginning of a paragraph and click play,
it took several years and many events to push the colonists to a point where they wanted to fight for their independence. Many of the American...
It will start reading the paragraph to the students. One thing you should be aware of as teachers or parents or students is if you click up here and choose options, you can choose to turn off continuous reading. And if you do that, it's only going to read one sentence at a time. And if you click play a second time, it will go back and read the same sentence again. And that's if you need to hear it more than once. You can also slow down or speed up the rate of speaking and change your voice up here. And these actually read with an accent. And I'm going to click OK. So other things that you can do besides clicking play, you can pause the playback and stop it completely. If it keeps reading, you can click stop completely. And then let's move over here to typing. So let's say I want to add in the sentence, the American Revolution was a turning point in our nation's history. And there are a couple of words in that sentence that maybe I have trouble with. I can start typing the American, okay, I don't know how to spell revolution. I can turn on word prediction and start typing look.
Revolution.
And I can hover over the suggestion and hear it, so I know if that's the correct word. And then I click it and it goes right in. I can turn it back off when I'm done with it. Was a turning point in our nation's history. Within word prediction, if you click on the main menu and click options, you can go into prediction and change the number of suggestions or results that the word prediction window will show you. So you can go anywhere between 3 suggestions all the way up to 10. And some students don't like the little window to follow their cursor. So if you uncheck this, the window with suggestions will actually appear in the upper left-hand corner so that it's out of the way of the students when they're typing. So that's word prediction. Another thing, let's go through and look at some of the other tools. If I highlight or even place my cursor on the word history and click the book, this is the dictionary, it's going to come up with a dictionary that is also an audio dictionary. So if I click the triangle.
Noun. Anything that happened in the past, we can trace my family's history.
So within that, let's say the student really wants to just capture that definition. Let's say this is the one they want. If they click it and select it and drag, they can plop it right into their document. So they can have that if they're taking notes and trying to find definitions. In addition, let me go back to history, make sure I'm on that. When I click the picture symbol, this is my picture dictionary. So it's also going to bring up a picture representation of the word that I'm on. So if I click around, you can see how it's going to change. Sometimes they have pictures and sometimes they don't. So let's go to British and so on. Let's see if they have something for worry. They do. Just like you can drag in definitions into your document, you can also drag in pictures. So you have that picture support, and it's nice for students to have the option to represent words and definitions and their knowledge in multiple means. So I'm going to close out of that. Oh, and you should be aware that many students like to use these in conjunction with each other. Close out, close out. Moving on. This is called the screenshot reader, and this is really so that you can select text that read-write can't see. So for example, you might have an image with text embedded in the image that the student can't see. You can use the screenshot reader to select around it and have it read. Since I don't have an example of that on this page, I'm just going to tell you what it is and move on. The next one is the audio maker. If you click this, it actually takes the entire text on the page and turns it into an MP3 of read-write reading it out loud. Some students like to put that onto a device and listen back to it later. This is called web search. So if I select American Revolution and click on web search, it's going to open up a Google search for that phrase. Now, if you don't want this showing, we can always go into your options and you can go into features and literally turn off what you don't want the students to have access to. So I could say, I don't want them to have web search. I'm going to turn that off and click OK. And now you'll see it's disappeared from the toolbar. Next is screen masking. So if I tap on this, it's going to allow students to really focus their attention as they're reading down the page. It makes it easier on the eyes. This is also a good teaching tool. If you are doing any kind of screencasting or teaching from the computer in the class and you're projecting, you can turn this on yourself and focus the kids' attention to a specific area of the page. Over here are their screencast settings. So if I click on the settings toolbar, you can see I can change my background color. You can make some really bad design choices here. So I'm going to keep it black. You can also change the reading color, and the reading color might need to be changed depending on students' visual preferences. You can also change the background as far as how much you can see through it. I don't like to have it completely solid because I like to see where I'm going. So I like to kind of leave it in the middle there and so on. But you can always reset back to the defaults again and click OK. Oh, another thing I should show you is you can adjust the height to make it very skinny if you have small sentences that you're reading. All right, so I just clicked that icon to turn it off, or you could click up here to turn it off again. The next one is a really cool tool that students like to use to get their thoughts down on paper, and it's a talk and type. Now this allows speech recognition. So basically the kids are going to voice dictate their ideas into the page. So let's say I want to talk and have it type. I just click on this and speak into my computer at a normal range. Click allow. As I talk, the computer will type, period. If I click the microphone, it turns it off, and you can see it's going to type in exactly what I said. If you say the punctuation, it will also put that in for you. But here's the issue, is you almost need to have a graphic organizer to kind of put your thoughts down so they can speak in cohesive sentences. Then what's nice, we like to say is put your cursor back at the beginning, click play.
As I talk, the computer will type.
So they can play it back to here to see if it even makes any sense. Okay, so that is talk and type. Next, we have translator. And translator is going to work a little bit better once we have this pushed out to everybody. But right now, translator is going to translate from English into Spanish, or you can set your language in the settings up here, one word at a time. Once we have this domain wide, you'll be able to translate several sentences at one time from English into Spanish or vice versa. Next, we have highlighter tools. So let's say I'm looking for main ideas and details. I want to highlight my main ideas in yellow, and I want to start looking for some details. Escape religious persecution. Government became more involved in the affairs in the colonies. Oops, I make sure to get all of that. And so on. So as I highlight main idea detail, here's another main idea. Here's another detail, and so on. What I can do is I can come over here and choose collect highlights. And when I do that, I can choose to sort the highlights by position or by color. In this case, I want to sort them by position, which means it's going to keep them as the first highlight, then the second, then the third, then the fourth. So when I click OK, what it's going to do is make a new document and put all of my highlights in here in the order in which I highlighted them. Then I can rename it and say American Revolution Notes, and so on. Okay, so you want to make sure to name them because otherwise it's going to say highlights untitled and you're not going to be able to find your document again. You could literally highlight this, sweep the highlights clean, and use this as a basis for an outline. let's see, we can go like this and so on. Start making my outline. So that's one way that you can take notes using the highlighters that also works on a web page. Next, we have vocabulary. So let me go ahead and sweep all my highlights off the page. Let's say I want to make a vocabulary list. So what I'm going to do is highlight one word at a time. And this only works if you highlight one word at a time. Let's see, laws. And now I'm going to choose vocabulary. And this is going to make a vocabulary list for students that they can use to study with. This also works on a web page. It's going to put it in a new document that saves automatically in their Google Drive. But you'll see that it alternates with blue, white, all the way down. And all of this is editable. So let's say there's too much here under history. I can delete anything that I don't want the kids to see, or they can delete everything that they don't think pertains. And maybe they just want one picture. All of this is editable. You could change this to use it in a sentence. You could share this document with students and so on, or they can make up their own for studying. So that's a really nice feature that they can use to empower themselves to make their own study list for vocabulary. Coming back again. This next one is called voice note. So if you had a document in here and you were giving feedback to students, you could highlight and choose voice note, and you could click here to record and say, please consider revising your topic sentence, and click insert. And that's going to plop it right in here next to it. It's going to take a second. And then they can go back and play it. And they can also respond with a voice note if they'd like. So you can go back and forth and have audio comments, which is great for distance learning for students within a Google document. The next thing, which is kind of neat, is called the practice reading aloud. So let's say you have text in a document and you want students to practice their fluency. You can have them highlight a specific passage, click on practice reading out loud. And what this is going to do is allow them to, first of all, listen to it being read by clicking the hover speech button. It will read it to them. Or they can click play to play it, either way. They can still use screen masking. But basically, what they're going to do is record themselves reading for fluency. Prior to 1764, the British government had pretty much left the colonists alone to govern themselves. Now, they would continue to do that until they finished the passage. But then what they can do is click Send a Teacher, and this is going to allow them to send their audio to the teacher through Google Classroom. And then the teacher will receive that recording and they can listen to it, which is great for tracking fluency over time. And I'm going to close out of that one. So that is a quick overview of using read-write extension for Google Chrome within a Google document. There's another one that will be coming shortly with how to use this for a web page.